It started with a coffee cup. I'm not talking about one of those poetic, chip mugs you see in indie films. Just a regular white ceramic mug, the kind you buy in packs of 4 at Target. It sat on the kitchen counter that morning, half full of lukewarm coffee, the faintest ring of lipstick on its rim. My wife, Claire, never wore lipstick. At least, not the shade that left that mark, pale rose, almost pink. She was more of a gloss girl, subtle and practical. The kind of woman who didn't like to leave evidence of herself behind. That morning felt like any other. Our small house in Oakwood hummed with the usual sounds. The distant bark of a neighbor's dog, the clink of dishes as I cleared the table, the whir of the refrigerator. But as I rinsed that cup, something in me paused. A tiny, gnawing thought, who had worn that lipstick? I wish I could tell you I let it go, that I chalked it up to my overactive imagination. But the truth is, that little smudge became an ember. And over the days that followed, it would set fire to the life I thought I knew. Claire and I had been married 8 years. I was 36, a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm in Dayton. Claire was 34, an accountant at a marketing agency. We'd met at a friend's barbecue, fallen into easy conversation about books and travel, and never really fallen out. Our marriage wasn't perfect, whose is? But I would have called it solid. Comfortable. Built on trust. But that week, things started to feel off. It wasn't just the coffee cup. It was the way Claire lingered in the car after coming home, the way she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, the way she started leaving for work earlier, coming home later. Small things. Things you could explain if you wanted to. But added together, they felt like an equation that didn't balance. I tried to dismiss it. I buried myself in work, in running, in podcasts I wasn't really listening to. But late at night, lying in bed next to Claire's softly breathing form, I'd stare at the ceiling and wonder. And the wondering hollowed me out. Then came the night I heard her whispering on the phone. I'd gotten up for water. It was just past midnight. Our house was quiet, the kind of stillness that feels heavy. As I padded toward the kitchen, I heard her voice, a soft murmur, just behind the closed door of our home office. At first I froze. Then, heart pounding, I crept closer. "Miss you too," she said. A pause. "No, I can't tonight. He's here. Tomorrow?" I backed away, the words echoing in my head like a drumbeat. "Miss you too." I don't remember how I made it through the rest of the night. I lay awake, watching shadows crawl across the ceiling, waiting for dawn like a man waits for a verdict. The next morning, I pretended nothing was wrong. I made coffee, packed her lunch, kissed her cheek. She smiled at me, genuine, I thought, or maybe I just wanted it to be. Then she left, and I stood at the window, watching her drive away. That day, I called in sick. I had to know. I waited an hour, then drove downtown to her office. Parked a block away, where I could see the front entrance. Watched as people came and went, faces I didn't recognize. And after what felt like forever, I saw her. Claire. Walking down the steps, not alone. A man walked beside her. Tall, dark-haired, wearing a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. They laughed at something. His hand brushed her lower back. She didn't pull away. I didn't follow them. I couldn't. I just sat there, hands clenched on the steering wheel, watching them disappear into the crowd. The world felt distant, like I was seeing it through a fogged window. That evening, I confronted her. I told myself I'd stay calm, ask questions, give her a chance to explain. "Who was he?" I asked as soon as she walked through the door. She blinked, taken aback. "Who?" "The man you left work with." Her face changed, like clouds passing over the sun. "You followed me? I needed to know." She set down her purse. His name's Daniel. He's new at the firm. We went to lunch, that's all. I saw him touch you. It wasn't like that." Her voice trembled, whether from anger or guilt I couldn't tell. "You're being paranoid." Maybe I was. Maybe I wasn't. But that night, as she slept, I lay awake and felt the distance between us stretch wider. What I didn't know then was that this was only the beginning. Over the next few weeks, the signs multiplied. A hotel receipt tucked into the pocket of her coat. A second phone hidden in her purse, which I found when I was looking for a pen. Messages I wasn't supposed to see. "Can't stop thinking about last night. Wish I was with you now." Always from Daniel. Each discovery chipped away at me, until I was a man made of splinters. But still, I didn't confront her again. I told myself I needed proof. Real proof. I didn't want to accuse her and be wrong. So I hired someone. It felt surreal, contacting a private investigator, like something out of a noir film. His name was Cal Fisher. Ex-cop. Sharp eyes, quiet voice. He listened to my story, nodded, and said he'd take the case. "Most of the time, people come to me already knowing the truth," he said. "They just need someone else to confirm it." I didn't argue. Days turned into a week. Cal sent me photos, Claire and Daniel at a restaurant, at a hotel bar, entering a building together, one I didn't recognize at first. Then I realized it was an apartment complex on the edge of town. The final nail in the coffin. Or so I thought. That Friday, Cal called. His voice was hesitant. "I found something you're gonna want to see, but I'm not sure what it means." I met him at his office, a cramped room above a pawn shop. He handed me a folder. Inside were more photos, Claire and Daniel, as expected. But in the latest shots, they weren't alone. There was another man with them. Older. Thin. Gray hair. The three of them were deep in conversation, looking serious. Not romantic. More tense. "I don't get it," I said. "I followed them after," Cal said. "They went to a law office. Met with a lawyer for over an hour." "A lawyer? Why?" He shook his head. "That's what I can't figure out. Thought you should see it before I dig deeper." I left his office more confused than ever. What was Claire doing? What did Daniel have to do with a lawyer? And who was that older man? I drove home, thoughts racing. For the first time, doubt crept in. Was I seeing this all wrong? Was there some explanation I hadn't considered? That night I decided I had to talk to Claire. Really talk. No more spying, no more secrets. Just the truth, whatever it was. But when I got home, she was gone. When I stepped through the front door, the house felt hollow. Claire's car wasn't in the driveway. Her coat wasn't on the hook. Her keys weren't in the bowl by the door. I called her name, knowing I wouldn't get an answer. The silence felt heavier than any argument we might have had. I tried her cell. Straight to voicemail. I told myself not to panic. Maybe she'd gone to the store. Maybe she needed air. But the truth pressed down on me. Claire had left without a word. I sat on the couch, phone in hand, replaying the last few weeks. The lipstick on the cup. The phone calls. The man. The apartment building. The lawyer. My mind scrambled for a thread that would tie it all together. But every thread seemed to fray as soon as I touched it. Hours passed. The sun dipped behind the trees. The house grew darker, colder. I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat, listening to the creaks and sighs of the empty rooms. At some point, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Cal standing there, hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable. "I didn't expect to see you tonight," I said. "Yeah. I wasn't going to come by, but there's something you should know. Something I just found out." He stepped inside, glancing around as if expecting Claire to appear. What is it? He hesitated. That older man from the photos? I ran his plates. His name's Martin Leland. He's not just some random guy. He's Daniel's father. Daniel's father. And he's a lawyer? I asked. No. He's a retired judge. Family's been around Dayton forever. That didn't make sense. Why would Claire be meeting with Daniel and his father? There's more, Cal said quietly. Leland's firm specializes in guardianships, conservatorship, that kind of thing. I stared at him. Guardianships? Why would Claire need a lawyer like that? I don't know. But whatever's going on, it's more than an affair. That night, sleep didn't come. I kept imagining scenarios, each more implausible than the last. What if Daniel wasn't her lover? What if this had nothing to do with infidelity at all? But if not, why the secrecy? The next morning, I drove to Claire's office. I didn't care how it looked. I needed answers. Her coworker, a woman named Jenna I barely knew, looked startled when I showed up. Hi, Mark. Everything okay? Is Claire here? Jenna frowned. She's out today. Family emergency. What kind of emergency? I don't know. She didn't say. Just that she'd be gone a few days. A few days. I left the office feeling more lost than ever. Back home, I stood in our bedroom, staring at her side of the closet. Some of her clothes were missing. A small suitcase was gone. She hadn't just stepped out for air. She'd planned this, and she hadn't told me. I spent that day in a fog. I tried calling her again. Still no answer. I debated calling the police, but what would I say? That my wife had left without telling me? That she was with another man? That she might be meeting with lawyers about what, exactly? Late that night, my phone finally rang. It was Claire. My heart raced as I answered. Claire? Where are you? What's going on? There was a long pause. Then her voice, quiet, tired. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. Didn't mean what? I can't explain everything. Not yet. But please just trust me a little longer. Are you with him? With Daniel? No. Not like you think. I promise. Then tell me the truth. Another pause. I thought I heard her take a shaky breath. I will, she said. Soon. Just not yet. I'm safe. That's all I can say. And then the line went dead. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling the ground shift beneath me. She hadn't denied being with Daniel, but she'd said it wasn't what I thought. What was it then? The next morning, I woke to find an envelope slid under the front door. My name was written on it in Claire's handwriting. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Mark, I'm sorry. I know this hurts, and I hate that I've caused you pain. Please believe me, I never wanted to lie to you. I'll come home soon, and I'll tell you everything. Trust me just a little longer. Claire, no explanation. No clues, just a promise. But promises felt empty now. That afternoon, Cal called again. Mark, he said, I think I've found something. I need you to meet me. Cal's voice had been urgent on the phone. I met him on the edge of town, near a row of old warehouses by the river. The area was mostly abandoned, rusting fences, broken windows, weeds poking through cracked asphalt. Cal stood beside his car, scanning the horizon like he expected trouble. He waved me over. What is this place? I asked. I tracked Daniel's car here 2 nights ago, Cal said. Same night Claire disappeared. He led me around the side of one warehouse. The door was ajar, hinges rusted, but inside I could see faint light. Wait, are you saying she's here? Not anymore. But I think she was. We stepped inside. The space smelled of oil and dust. A folding table stood near the center of the room. On it, scattered papers, an empty coffee cup, and a city map marked with red circles. Cal pointed. See that? That's where Leland's law office is. That's Daniel's apartment. And that's your house. My stomach twisted. Why are they mapping my house? That's what I've been trying to figure out, Cal said. There's more. He handed me. I barely slept that night. Every noise outside the motel room window made me jump. Every shadow felt like a threat. My thoughts spun in endless circles. Claire, Daniel, Judge Leland, the surveillance photos. The truth seemed as tangled as ever. Morning light brought no relief. I called Cal. We can't just sit and wait, I said. If she's in danger, or if I am, we have to do something. I agree, Cal said. Meet me at my office in an hour. I have an idea. Cal's office was a cramped space above a pawn shop, the walls lined with filing cabinets and old coffee mugs. He spread out a city map on his desk. They're watching you, right? Let's give them something to see. He explained his plan. We'd make it look like I was preparing to leave town in a hurry, pack bags, buy a bus ticket, check out of the motel. We'd draw whoever was watching out into the open. Then we'd follow them. It sounded risky. But at that point, risk felt better than helplessness. That afternoon, I went through the motions. Packed bags. Paid for a one-way bus ticket to Chicago. Made sure I was seen at the station. And sure enough, Cal spotted the tail. A dark sedan, parked 2 blocks from the station. He followed at a distance as they shadowed me back to the motel. Hours passed. Then, just after midnight, Cal called. They're making a move, he said. 2 guys just left the car. Heading toward your motel. My heart pounded. What do I do? Leave. Now! I'm on my way, but don't wait. I grabbed my bag and slipped out the back. The parking lot was empty, silent except for the hum of a distant streetlight. I kept to the shadows, heart racing, every sense on high alert. And then I heard footsteps. I ducked behind a dumpster, holding my breath. The 2 men passed by, tall, dressed in dark clothes, moving with purpose. I caught a glimpse of something metallic at one man's waist. A gun. I waited until they were out of sight, then ran. Cal found me 3 blocks away. We can't go back there, he said. They're looking for you. And I think I know why. We drove through the night, heading toward a safe house Cal knew, an old cabin his uncle had left him, miles from town. As we drove, Cal explained, I dug deeper into Daniel David's old contacts. The fraud charges? They were part of a bigger operation. Money laundering, fake charities, identity theft. The group's still active. Claire's working to expose them. And you? You were supposed to be the next victim. Your name, your company connections, perfect cover for moving money. So the affair, it was never real. No. The secrecy? That was about keeping you out of it. But somehow, they realized she tipped you off. Now they want to shut both of you down. We reached the cabin just before dawn. The place was rough, but it would do. I collapsed onto a battered sofa, exhaustion finally overtaking fear. But even as sleep claimed me, one thought echoed in my mind. Where was Claire now? That evening, as the sun set behind the trees, Cal's phone buzzed. He read the message, eyes wide. It's from a source I trust. Claire set up a meeting. She wants to hand over evidence. Tonight. Where? He showed me the text, an address on the outskirts of town. A time, 10 p.m. We left the cabin as night fell, hearts pounding, headlights off as we crept down empty roads. We parked a block away and approached on foot. The meeting spot was an abandoned service station, paint peeling, windows shattered. Claire stood in the lot, a small bag at her feet. And across from her, two men, one I recognized as David. I started forward, but Cal grabbed my arm. "Wait!" he hissed. And then, before I could stop it, everything exploded into chaos. A third man stepped from the shadows, gun raised. A shot rang out. Claire dropped to the ground. I froze. The crack of the gunshot echoed in my ears, drowning out everything else. Claire lay motionless, and for a moment, the world stopped. Then Cal was moving, pulling me back into the shadows. "Stay down," he hissed. I barely heard him. My eyes were locked on Claire. David had lunged at the gunman, shouting something I couldn't make out. The two men struggled, the gun clattering to the ground. Cal pulled out his own weapon, I hadn't even known he was carrying, and crept closer, staying low. Another shot, this one from David, who'd recovered the gun. The third man crumpled. And then silence. David stood there, breathing hard, gun still raised. Slowly he lowered it. I couldn't wait any longer. I broke from cover, sprinting toward Claire. "Mark!" "No!" Cal called, but I didn't stop. I fell to my knees beside her. "Claire!" I whispered. Her eyes fluttered open. "I'm okay," she said, voice weak but steady. The bullet had grazed her shoulder, blood stained her sleeve, but she was alive. Relief hit me so hard I nearly collapsed. David came over, face pale. "We have to go. Now! More will come." We piled into David's car, speeding away as sirens echoed in the distance. In the back seat, I held Claire's hand. The month that followed felt like a second chance. Claire and I built something new by the sea, small, quiet, and ours. We planted a garden, repainted the kitchen, learned the rhythms of ordinary life again. I found work designing modest homes, and she spent time at the library and helping neighbors. Sometimes, we'd sit together on the porch as the sun went down, and I'd think, we made it. But shadows don't always stay gone. One afternoon, while sorting through mail, I found a letter. No return address. No postmark. Just my name, written in a hand I didn't recognize. Inside was a single sentence. "You'll never know everything, but you know enough." No signature. Nothing else. I showed it to Claire. She read it, then set it down carefully. "I think it means we can stop looking over our shoulders," she said. "Whoever sent it, maybe they're giving us permission to let go." I wanted to believe that. I wanted it more than anything. That evening, we walked down to the beach. The tide was low, the air warm and still. I thought about everything we'd been through, the lies, the danger, the love that had been but not broken. And I realized something. I would never untangle every mystery. Never know every truth about what Claire had done, or what David's real motives had been, or how close danger still lingered. But I knew this. I chose Claire. I chose us. And whatever came next, we'd face it together. That was enough. The past would stay where it belonged, behind us. The future? We'd write it ourselves.